He's been shot. Perpetrator? The boy's poodle-loving 74-year-old gun-toting grandma.
911, what's your emergency?
I've just been shot.
What? Who?
I've just been shot.
Where are you at? Okay, how did you get shot? Who shot you?
My grandma shot me.
Your grandma and grandpa shot you?
My grandma.
Just a quick warning, this video will contain explicit content. The video will tell some gruesome details about murder victims and crimes committed by a very disturbed individual. This is not a topic that can be treaded lightly, and as such, viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, lovelies. It is Lady Curious with another true crime video. Remember, these videos are for educational and documentary purposes only. This case today, when I read about it, it blew my mind. I was like, this cannot be real. This cannot be real. Especially with the 911 call that I heard. It was so devastating, y'all. I will have that in this video. You'll get to hear it as well. Today's case is a little shorter than most. I didn't have a lot of time to do a deep dive on this at all, but I wanted to get another video out this month for y'all. This case is about Jonathan Hoffman. It happened in 2012. He was a 17-year-old high school student. He was a senior at Farmington Central High School. At the time this story unfolds, he was actually living with his grandparents, Sandra and Fred Lane, in the Maple Place Willis condominium in West Bloomfield. His parents, Michael and Jennifer Hoffman, who were divorced, were living in Arizona at the time with Jonathan's younger sister, Jessica, but they called her Jessie. They were in Arizona because his sister had a tumor and they needed to have the best care for her. And they were moving up there to treat it and be with her. And Jonathan only had a year left in school, his senior year, and he didn't want to move when he only had a year left in high school. You know, he wanted to graduate with his friends and the kids he grew up with and all of that. So Sandra and Fred asked Sandra's mom, hey, can you take him for a year, let him finish out high school? And they truly, truly thought Jonathan would be safe with their parents. I mean, who wouldn't? Jonathan's parents didn't think that about their own parents. They felt that he was in a safe place. But unfortunately, that would not be the case. Jonathan was betrayed as bright, funny, kind, and caring by his many friends and former classmates. One kid, Ryan, said that some of his funniest memories at high school was with Jonathan. They said he was a good kid, a life of the party. And unfortunately, Jonathan was going through a lot. He was going through his sister, his brain tumor. His parents were getting a divorce. And that really does affect children. It affects children in different types of ways. And Jonathan, how he dealt with it was smoking pot. It was just a coping mechanism. He did have some reruns with the law. You know, he was caught smoking pot, caught with weed in his car, things like that. But in my opinion, that is nothing compared to what other kids get into. This is like a little tiny misdemeanor to me. It's like the lesser of all the drugs you could do. And I know they say, oh, pot's a gateway, other drugs and stuff. Jonathan was going through a lot, and he just needed something to take the edge off. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But his grandmother disagreed, and you will find out the disturbing thing that she did because she felt that she didn't have control of her 17-year-old grandson. And that's why I said this case blows my mind. He was not thinking rationally. And that's my opinion. Allegedly. You gotta throw that allegedly in there so I don't get in trouble for some things I say. But you will see that she just went way too far. Way too far over little things. Something else could have been done than what she did. They say that when Hoffman moved in with his grandparents, almost from the start, there were heated fights between the teen and his grandmother. The first police encounter with Jonathan was Saturday, March 17th. According to police reports, Farmington Hills police ticketed Jonathan after finding pot and drug paraphernalia in his car while he was driving. He was placed on probation. Then on March 21st, on Wednesday evening, a neighbor of Lane's called police after hearing a heated argument inside the condo. Lane begged the police to leave. Officers considered taking the teen away because of his erratic behavior. His grandmother apparently convinced investigators she had it under control. Then on April 16th, a month later, there was another murder in the area that I guess the grandmother heard about. It was the murder of Robert Cipriano. His son Tucker Cipriano is accused of beating his father, mother, and brother. Investigators say that Tucker, a troubled teen, also enrolled in an alternative school program, was on drugs. And Jonathan's grandmother, Lane, was convinced Jonathan could snap like Tucker. They began arguing about drugs and his behavior, and on Friday, the 27th, Lane made her way to the Target Sports, and she paid $700 cash for a .40 caliber Glock 17. She told the news she was in fear of attack by her grandson and she wanted protection. If you are so scared of your grandchild, you buy a gun, maybe you should send his ass to Arizona with his parents and tell them you cannot do it anymore. You can't do it no more. You need to come get your child. Point blank. If you are scared of someone that you buy a gun and they live in the house with you, they need to get the hell out of your house. You need to change that situation completely. I don't understand how she thought that was okay. On Friday, May 18th, Jonathan had a history of drug use and had tested positive for a so-called synthetic marijuana, probably K2. On the day of the shooting, Lane claimed her grandson feared flunking probation and demanded money and the car to leave the area. He shot him out of fear during a physical altercation. This time, Hoffman was rushed to the hospital. He was shot 8 times. And unfortunately, these gunshot wounds would kill him. A 17-year-old. A 17-year-old just being a damn teenager. A 17-year-old getting into the normal amount of trouble that some teenagers do. She took it too far. Way too far. Lane was arrested shortly after. Inside the home, police found several bullet holes and blood on the floor. The news was told marijuana and a scale were removed from Jonathan's bedroom. On Monday, May 21st, Lane appeared in court. She was charged with open murder. She appeared weak and confused. Her 86-year-old husband was in the courtroom. He began sobbing as he walked outside. I want to say that Lane was 75 when she was charged with murder. 70-year-old shooting her grandchild that she was supposed to love, that supposedly she said she did love, over a little marijuana. The whole thing is that night, supposedly they got in a heated argument. He wanted things to get away because he was scared of messing up his probation and blah, blah, blah. He was wanting to run away, I guess. And supposedly she said that he kicked her a couple times in the chest and stuff. But when she was checked out by a medical professional, they said she had no injuries at all. So I don't really believe that. I don't believe that. Now, when kids, or anyone really, because I used to be a correctional officer and I've seen people on K2, especially bad K2, synthetic marijuana, will mess you up. You become belligerent. You become crazy. You're out of your mind. And maybe he did have some erratic behavior that wasn't seen by anyone else. And that's why she was afraid of him. But the thing is that she should have sent him back to his parents and he would have never died. This would have never happened. And it's so crazy to me that it was like within a couple months that this happened. On Tuesday morning, family and friends gathered to say goodbye to Jonathan. His parents returned from Arizona. They were devastated to hear the news. The news learned that Lane's daughter, Jonathan's mother, knew there were problems back in Michigan. However, Jonathan refused to move. He's 17 years old. He does not get the say-so of moving. Take him out of your house. Change the locks. Say you don't want to be a good, respectable young man in my house. You will be kicked out. Either you're going to be out on the streets, or you can move back with your mother and father, or go live with a friend. Solved. Now, I know there's issues where it's harder to be done than said. I understand that. And it's all my opinion. I told you on this channel, I was going to be cutthroat. I was going to tell you how I feel. And if you don't like how I feel, then go listen to someone else. I want to put my input, and a lot of people will agree with what I'm saying. His father said his son wasn't a problem child. Lane will be back in court soon, where the debate will begin. Was this self-defense or cold-blooded murder? Lane was convicted on Tuesday of second-degree murder in his death. The jury deliberated over parts of 2 days in the case of Sandra Lane, 75, who had been charged with open murder in May 18th death of Jonathan Hoffman, 17. Prosecutors said Lane stalked her grandson inside the West Bloomfield, Michigan condo where they both lived, shooting him 10 times in 6 minutes, and she hit him 6 times, intent on killing him. This is where I want to put the 911 call in.
911, what's your emergency?
Well, I've just been shot.
What? Who?
I've just been shot.
Where are you at? Okay, how did you get shot? Who shot you?
My grandma shopping.
Your grandma and grandpa shot you?
My grandma. I'm gonna die. So.
Okay, we're gonna stay on the phone with me, okay, sir? I'm gonna get help on the way. Okay? Where were you shot at? Where are you shot? Your chest? Okay, who, are your grandparents still there?
No.
Where did they go?
I don't know.
You don't know where they went? They shot you though, right? Okay, stay on the phone, okay? Okay, I know we got help on the way. I promise you that, okay? You said it's in your chest?
Yes.
Okay, did you get some kind of, can you walk or are you sitting?
I'm sitting.
Okay, I don't want you to move. Okay, just keep on breathing. Okay, and it just happened? Are you there? Keep talking to me. Are you there?
No.
Can you keep talking? Keep talking to me? Are you there, sir? 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 Hello? Sir? Did you just call from a neighbor? Someone must be with them, so he's not talking to me right now. No, I heard someone, but I don't know if it was him or not.
Now, in the 911 call, you could hear that she shot him and hit him. And he was on the phone telling the 911 dispatcher, please help me. I am dying. And then even on the phone call, you could hear gunfire, and he said, she shot me again. So he was trying to run away, and she was chasing after him, shooting him. As the verdict was read, Lane mouthed, oh my God, to her lawyer and began to cry. Outside of the courtroom, Jonathan's mother said her mother is a monster who deserved to go to prison. I'm glad she's put away and can't do harm to anyone else. He was a great kid and didn't deserve this. She knows her son is in heaven, a place her mother will never get to. On Monday, the suburban Detroit jury had asked to hear again a recording of the teen's desperate call to 911 and even more shots while he was on the line. And this is what some of it said. My grandma shot me. I'm going to die. Help. I got shot again. Jonathan Hoffman told a dispatcher as he gasped for air. Jurors declined to comment following the verdict. They told the prosecutor and Lane's lawyers during a private meeting that 911 call was critical to their decision, according to the prosecutor. They said they played it over and over and over again in the jury room. One of the big things they said is when you hear the shots on the call, there's no struggle. Lane had said she had bought a gun the previous months because she was afraid of her grandson's outburst. She killed a child she was trying to protect and tried to save. Her lawyer, Jamon Sabata, said during closing arguments, don't compound the tragedy. The jury chose a conviction of second-degree murder, an intent to kill or do great bodily harm, but decided the crime was not premeditated. A first-degree murder charge. Michigan does not have a death penalty. Lane is expected to receive the minimum sentence of 14 years in prison, prosecutors said, but she could face as much as life term. A 14-year term is akin to a life sentence for Lane because of her age. The verdict came after a 2-week trial that brought up as many questions as it answered. Lane had no history of violence when she shot Hoffman. Other verdicts that jurors were considering included voluntary and involuntary manslaughter, a felony firearm charge, and acquittal. They also convicted Lane of using a firearm during a felony, and she will be sentenced at a later date. Prosecutors painted Lane as a calculating and controlling woman, angry that her grandson was failing high school and fed up with his drug use and belligerent attitude. But her lawyer portrayed her as a loving grandmother who was growing ever more fearful of a teen out of control. You're the adult. You could have called the police, not go shoot your damn grandchild. You could have had DCF come and take him to his mother and made his mother come and pick him up. You could have got the courts involved. You don't have to take an innocent life just because he was going down the wrong road. Prosecutor told jurors that Lane never rushed out of her West Bloomfield home despite claiming to be afraid of her grandson and never called for an ambulance to help him. She told police that she shot him after Hoffman kicked her in the chest during a heated argument in which he wanted money to flee Michigan because of a failed drug test. But the prosecutor pointed out that Lane never complained to police about being attacked. The hospital nurse who examined her after her arrest said Lane had no injuries and spoke lovingly about Jonathan. Lane's husband, Fred Lane, 87, attended the trial and began crying as he left the courtroom. His wife is a former teacher, mother of 5 and grandmother of 9, including Jonathan Hoffman and his younger sister Jessica. Jonathan's father said he was thrilled with the verdict and said it restored his son's reputation. It's been tarnished in a cruel way. He said his son and Sandra Lane were close. The woman made little buddy potato and brisket for Jonathan Hoffman, her favorite grandchild. But Jonathan's dad also called her meddlesome and controlling. He said he believed Sandra Lane killed her grandson in one last attempt to control him. She was always a thorn in my side, he said. I never liked her. Lane said, I wanted him to pay attention to me. He had to listen. It wasn't a conversation. It was arguing, swearing, and she said that's why she took the gun out. Really? For an argument? Lane repeatedly blamed the parents of Jonathan for not taking him back to Arizona and said her grandson's drug use made him unmanageable for an elderly woman. Prosecutors said the 911 call was the most powerful evidence in the trial. He said it clearly shows a young man, 17 years old, who is dying, begging for help, and he is describing second by second what's happening to him. Hoffman's parents, while acknowledged their son's trouble with drugs, said the defense unfairly portrayed the teen as dangerous. It's final vindication for my son to restore his good name and reputation, because over the course of the last 9 months, it's been tarnished in a very cruel manner. He was a great kid. He was a wonderful person, a very spiritual, creative person, said Jonathan's father. Now, Lane tried to appeal this. He said her rights were violated when a judge barred her from introducing certain comments made by Jonathan Hoffman. Lane claims the words were threatening and would have helped her claim of self-defense. Not words, no. But the appeals court rejected that argument, and then in 2013, she was sentenced to 22 years in prison. That was what she was sentenced to. Not 14, not life, but 22 years. But to her, it's life, because she'll end up passing away before then. Jonathan's parents did do a wrongful death suit seeking at least $1 million, has been filed against the 75-year-old Detroit area woman. The lawsuit was filed recently. The lawsuit, which accused Lane of assault and battery, wrongful death, false imprisonment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Lane's husband is accused of negligence, wrongful death, but, he wasn't at all charged with this case at all. Jonathan's father said that Lane put on her war paint and came in gunning for my boy. The teen's mother, Lane's daughter, Jennifer, urged the judge to show no mercy, calling her mother a narcissist. She showed no mercy when she planned, stalked, and murdered my son in his bedroom. Sandra Lane is pure evil, and if given the opportunity, would surely kill again. She tormented him for the 12 minutes before he was finally killed. Jonathan's dad said his son was only in socks and athletic shorts when he was shot, showed amazing courage in his final moments of life. Without the 911 call, father said we would have had a very different result in the trial. Hundreds of friends and family packed a chapel for the funeral service of 17-year-old Jonathan Hoffman 3 difficult days after in their West Bloomfield condominium. Friends and classmates spoke late Tuesday morning in front of a filled chapel, not in the circumstances of Hoffman's death, which sent shockwaves through the community, but of a senior who was coming into his own while remaining one of a kind. He was unafraid of being himself, even if it meant he was different from everyone else. He wasn't just a computer geek, he was a cool computer geek. He found something to dream about. At the Temple of Israel to swap stories about Hoffman, interchangeably known as a road trip partner, video games teammate, and first best friend. It was said that Jonathan accepted a full ride scholarship to Eastern Michigan University after dealing with academic issues that Bennett said led to his transfer from North Farmington. I got to know him playing RuneScape in 9th grade. As much of a nerd as he was, it rubbed off on me a lot. It was always a great thing about him, how he could do so much with so little. Jonathan was a genius, like a little brother to me. No matter what you wanted to do, he was always down for it. Farmington Central canceled the classes to allow students to attend Hoffman's funeral. That was the end of this case. She was unhinged. There were so many other different ways that she could have handled that. Why would she think murder was the best thing? If she felt scared, she could have called the police. She could have ran out the house. She could have got her husband. Why would she think that even a taser would have been better? Not a damn firearm. Let me just shoot my grandchild to death because he's arguing with me. That just blows my mind, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm getting super heated. I feel really bad for this family that they lost such a loving and smart kid. He had a lot of life to live, and she just took it away from him. And the parents were already going through enough. They're going through divorce. Their other kid had a brain tumor, and they were trying to get through that together. And then their mom kills their other kid. What do y'all think about this case? Tell me down below, please. I would like to hear your thoughts. Do you feel that she was way out of control? I will be back in a couple weeks. I want to do the case about the serial killer. They're not saying it's a serial killer, but it's a serial killer. I don't care what people say. Allegedly a serial killer. And I think it's in Austin, Texas, where a lot of men have been popping up dead. I mean, it's already been like more than 7. And they haven't caught the guy yet. So I really want to go ahead and try to do a deep dive on it, what we have now about the victims, to celebrate the life they once had and to get the awareness out there that this is happening and you need to be careful. I'm very sorry to Jonathan's family. Please send out love and prayers to them. I love y'all so much. I will see y'all in a couple of weeks. Please be careful out there. There are some crazy people out there in the world, people that will do whatever it is for very selfish reasons. Please like and subscribe. Until next time.